Story time. The morning of the shutdown. I woke up, prayed Fajr, and started doing my dispatches again. Looking back, that was probably the last time I ever did my regular dispatches in MUI. After that, I started recording the events. I managed to record several of the events that were available at the time, including UA Legends, Demon Lord Showdown, Heroes Depart, Celebration Supreme Party, Tap to the Beat, Summer Festival, and the other event content that I could reach. At that point, I was basically trying to work through everything as quickly as possible because I knew my time was limited. Recording while commuting. I was on my commute at the time, literally on the bus. Obviously, I couldn't play the game through the loudspeaker while I was on a bus, so I had to use my earbuds. That's when I discovered a problem. When I recorded while wearing the earbuds, the game audio wasn't being captured properly. Unfortunately, the recording wouldn't properly record the sound unless I turned on the microphone, so I had to enable the microphone. And because of that, the recording started picking up everything around me. You could hear the sounds from my commute, my walking, me moving around, going toward the classroom, and eventually the sounds of me actually attending class. I even had to record Heroes Depart twice because I initially didn't realize what was happening with the audio. Once, I noticed that the earbuds weren't allowing the game sound to be recorded properly. I had to redo the entire recording with the microphone enabled. That's why some of these particular recordings have so much background noise. Most of my other recordings were relatively clean. These few clips were different because I was literally outside, commuting, walking around, and moving between places while trying to archive the game.
Recording during my literature class. Then I arrived at the classroom, and this wasn't just any classroom. It was the classroom where the teacher really dislikes students using mobile phones. So I had to move toward the back of the classroom to record. Normally, I sit toward the front because I genuinely love English literature and actually wanted to learn from the lecture, but that day was different. My Hero Ultra Impact was my first priority. I was trying to preserve the game before it disappeared, so I moved toward the back and continued recording. I'm not going to mention anything about my classmates because that's not relevant to the archive. They may have been surprised by what I was doing, or maybe they weren't. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me. What mattered to me at that moment was the MHUI archive. And while I was recording, you can actually hear the lecture in the background. We were studying Elizabethan and Jacobean drama, and that particular lecture was about Volpone. So, in a weird way, the background of some of the final MHUI recordings contains an actual university lecture about Volpone. I was sitting there as an English literature student, trying to learn about Elizabethan and Jacobean drama, while simultaneously trying to preserve the game that was about to disappear. The last event I recorded. Eventually, I recorded Tap to the Beat. As far as I remember, that was the last event I intentionally recorded. At that point, I thought I was basically done, but then something made me think, maybe I should save that song I really like. So instead of simply stopping there, I went back into UA Legends, specifically Chapter 5 to 5, Demon Lord Showdown, because there was a particular piece of music there that I really loved. I went back specifically to record that soundtrack, and I'm really glad I did, because I had absolutely no idea that this would become the final thing I managed to preserve. If I had known that this was going to be the end, I probably would have put so much more effort into the archive. I would have been more deliberate. I would have tried to record things differently. I would have taken more time, but I didn't know. I thought I still had time.
The moment I realized it was really over, after recording my favorite soundtrack, I thought everything was going well. I thought, maybe I should go to another event. So I clicked on another event, and boom, the maintenance screen appeared. That's when I realized this was really the end. No more events, no more logins, no more chances to go back and record something I had missed. I thought I still had more time. I was wrong. I had spent that day trying to preserve everything I could while dealing with classes, commuting, studying, and real life. I didn't realize that while I was sitting in class, Recording events and listening to a lecture about Volpone, I was already experiencing MHUI's final moments. And I didn't even know it. It's all over, guys. Unfortunately, I lost the footage of that final moment. So I made this story time video to document what happened. This is the final video uploaded to this channel. Thank you for being here. Y'all have a good day.